Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. I know when I got up this morning, I really didn't feel like getting up. But now that I'm here, like, we have all these people and we have muffins and all this stuff. So, it's a good feeling. So, we have Mr. Kennedy today, and he is our motivational magician. And before he gives his presentation, to get to know him, we're going to address some of his accomplishments. There are some people that say Frank Kennedy, the CEO and founder of MagicViz, is an accomplished speaker, trainer, professional magician, and motivational speaker who targets audiences of students, educators, and leaders with insightful lessons. Some point out his recent work, presentations in Boston, Miami, Trenton, Northern California, Atlanta, Dover, Chicago, and this summer at Disney World. So that's a lot. Closer to home, Frank Kennedy has delivered memorable message at over 100 Pennsylvania high schools in 21 counties and been a regular presenter at the prestigious Pennsylvania Free Enterprise Week in Williamsport and at Lehigh University's Global Entrepreneurship Program in Delone. Some point out that Mr. Kennedy has a master's in business administration from Eastern University and a religion degree from Haverford College. His work has been featured in the media, including TV, newspapers, and magazines, including, oddly enough, the Wisconsin's Women's Magazine. But these accomplishments are not the most important thing to know about our presenter. The most important detail of Mr. Kennedy's bio is that he is a self-proclaimed nut. He proclaims it, not me. But many others have called him crazy too. It doesn't bother him though, because he knows in his heart that they are correct. Creating one's own path to a successful life means taking risks and doing the unconventional. This life philosophy has led him to milking a water buffalo in India, climbing to the top of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, knocking down the Berlin Wall, dancing in the streets of Rio at Carnival, proposing to his beautiful wife on Miami's southern beach in a tuxedo, crashing a party hosted by Michael Jordan in Chicago, and praying with Mother Teresa at her crib in Calcutta. He has visited all 50 states and over 40 countries on 5 continents. He lives near Philadelphia with his beautiful family, 1 wife and 2 boys, ages 13 and 5. Today he is very pleased at his path and that it has taken him here to Delone Catholic. So get ready for some crazy ideas. Let's welcome Mr. Kennedy again.
Thank you, Bree. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Oh, nice to be welcomed like that. I know this is a room full of leaders, and I know we're going to get a lot of cooperation, but before we do that, I want you to start thinking about who you are. And not so much your role or your title or your responsibility that you introduced yourself with here, but who you are deep inside. Who's that person inside of you that sometimes comes out and shines, but often sort of gets pushed down, tamped down because of maybe social conventions, maybe fear, maybe because you're afraid that if you let that person out, you'll get laughed at or ridiculed or ignored. But who's that person deep inside you that is really going to be the fuel for whatever leadership position you have? And we're going to talk a lot about that today. I'm going to give you some strategies for leadership. But it's going to come back to that person who's deep inside you, that person who is growing and is emerging and is changing as you're influenced by everything that's going on. But that person is vital, and it's the one unique thing that you have. Now, I am a unique person. Anyone can say that. And in order to, I'm going to show you some things that I've learned over the years, but I do need, maybe you've used this in your school. I have this, I keep it in this box. This is an important thing I use in lots of leadership. What's that? This red box. Wait a minute. Which box was bigger? Which box was bigger? Paying attention? I think it was the red box is supposed to be bigger. Inside the blue box is something I want to show you. That's a tool I use in all my leadership presentations. There you go. I need a volunteer who can come up and take a close look at this. Now, a close look is this. First thing I learned when I studied magic as a child was how to make something vanish and then reappear. And I learned this, first thing I learned, and it still comes in handy. Some people are saying, I know what's going on, other people are going, what's going on. But I want somebody who can come up close and get a real close look at this. Give you a chair up here. Volunteer to come up and see this up close, because you all have the same perspective. No matter where you're sitting in the back or the front, you see the same thing, but you see it slightly differently from your perspective. And in your roles as leaders, you've got different perspectives too. Of course, you've got lots of different perspectives from your family, from your culture, from everything you've learned so far. You want to bring those perspectives up. Somebody come up here? Come on, thank you. Brave volunteer. One hand up in a room full of leaders. We've got some work to do. What's your name? Jack. Jack? Nice to meet you, Jack and Frank. Have a seat. I want you to be comfortable. It's going to be the same thing you saw back there. Now I'm going to do it from here, okay? Now, it kind of looks the same, but it's kind of not fair. Because now you've got to look to the side. You've got to look at me while everybody's looking at you. So what I'm going to do is give you an experience that happens in front, just for you. Right? Now, if you see something that others don't see, don't say anything. For instance, if I put the ball right here, you can see it. Yes. Sometimes a leader has a perspective, but they're the only ones who see something that others don't have. It might be the CEO of a company who sees something that nobody else sees in the company. And they've got to make a decision based on that. It might be in your position as a leader. You see something and nobody else sees. You get information no one else has, and you've got to act on that without anyone knowing. On the other hand, though, Jack, if I put the ball here, you can't see it. You know it's there, but you can't see it. And sometimes leaders don't see everything. You've got to realize the perspective of others is very important. If others see things that the leader doesn't, it's very important that they rely on their group for knowledge and information. And you see this, I was at a restaurant recently, and they have those customer comment cards. That's smart for a business to do that because they're collecting information from customers. People sometimes are so busy running a restaurant that they don't know that there's something dangerous in the parking lot or the bathrooms are a disaster, and they get those customer comment cards, they can improve the business. Now, what I want to do is, if you see something they don't see, don't say anything for now. And the same thing, if anybody else sees something differently than other people, don't say anything for now. Later on, we'll talk about all you want. But right now, Jack, I want to do this experience right here without putting it behind my hand or anything like that. I'm going to try to make it vanish. I got me kind of fast. That wasn't fair. Let's try it again. I got another one. All right. What I'm going to do it very slowly. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put it in very slowly. I'm going to try to make it vanish. What's going on? All right, it's magic. That's what happens. Here, let's try it again. All right. This time, why don't you touch it? I'm sorry, I'm screaming, but it's very soft, right? That way I can squish it. I put it in here, I can squish it, I can mush it, and I can make it disappear. Here, try this again. Put up a finger. Thanks for choosing that one. I want you to put it in my hand at the same time the ball is in there. You feel it? All right? How about now? Got it? Where is it? Sometimes a leader is so preoccupied with their leadership responsibility, they don't see everything and their concepts that could go over their head. They won't know what's going on. What's going on? Some people think it's my sleeves. I'll roll these up. Got it. All right. We'll do it very slowly, all right? I'll even do it out here, all right? I'm going to put it in here, all right? I'm going to put it in very slowly. What? Here, help me pick these up. All right. I'm glad you have a good sense of humor. Stand here. Let me teach you some magic here. Hold this one. with this one. And I'll show you the first thing I learned today. Take this, put it in your other hand, squeeze it. Now open up your fingers slowly, one at a time. All right, pretty good, pretty good. You know the moves. Now you got to think magic. All right? Close your hand and say, I can make it disappear.
I can make it disappear.
I believe it. Believe it? All right, open up your fingers. What? Did you say appear or disappear? It's early. All right, let's try it again. See if you make one of them disappear. It doesn't matter if it's the right or the left one. I'm not going to tell anybody. Say, I can make it disappear.
I can make it disappear.
All right, you don't have very good skills in making things disappear, but you're good on the appearing part. Let me teach you the disappearing part. First thing I learned when I took the ball, I put it over here. I just pretend to put it there. Some of you intellectually knew that, but it didn't look like it when I did it. I just pretend to put it there, and I sneak this away. Sometimes I sneak it away to a pocket up here, or a pocket back here. But then I tap and say it's gone. All right? We're going to try one more thing, Jack, and then we're done. I'm going to just use my hands, okay? You guess first where the ball is, and we'll let everyone else guess. Where does the red ball end up? This hand or this hand? You guess first. This hand, are you sure?
Yes.
All right, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you think the red ball's here. Raise your hand if you think it's here. Raise your hand if you don't think. All right, always a few people. If you thought it was here, very good. Paying attention, it's red. Partially right, but it's not a ball. If you thought it was here, again, I'll give you partial credit. It's a ball, but it's not red. If you're paying attention, really paying attention, there's one place, and only one place the red ball can be. Let's give Jack a hand. What's the, in my opinion, I think the number one question young people are asked by adults, usually in a first encounter, is a very common question. I bet you've heard it hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. What question do you think I'm thinking? Any ideas? You're with an adult, you meet him for the first time. What do you want to be when you grow up? You've heard that one, right? I've never run into two teenagers who come up to each other and goes, hi, how you doing? What do you want to be when you grow up? But eventually you might find out that information, but adults, we're just devoid of imagination sometimes it seems, and no one ever gets to that question. What do you want to be? I mean, what do you want to be when you grow up is sort of a default question that comes out of adults when they were students. Right now, though, it's more sophisticated. You get questions like, what are you going to major in college? What career are you considering pursuing? But it's the same question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And that question is important, but it's also part of the reason why schools like this give you so many responsibilities and leadership roles is so that you can get a feel for what it's like to be out there in the workplace. The jobs that you have, the responsibilities you have are the same that are out in the workplace. And if you perfect them here, you're going to help yourself, not only help your club, your team, or your cause grow, you're also going to help yourself get stronger and grow too. Now, I wanted to ask my son this question, what do you want to be when you grow up, before anybody asks him that question. Because now you probably have a polite response, maybe it's wrote and memorized, but you say something when an adult says that to you, you don't ignore that. But it's not the most exciting part of your day. I wanted to ask my son this question when he was a child, just starting to form sentences, before anybody could ask him that question. That anyone would think about it. So I remember he was eating a snack, and I called him over and said, Nathaniel, come here. Now he's got a question. Nathaniel, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah, that's right, he was thinking. I never saw him think this long about a question. But it was the first time. This was a fresh, new question. And for like a 3-year-old, this was a perspective he'd never thought about before. Thinking about his future was like blowing his mind. He thought a long time. Daddy, when I growed up, I want to be a squirrel. A proud father was I. So I said, okay, Nathaniel, go back and finish your snack. He said, okay, Daddy. But when you think about it, from a 3-year-old perspective, this is that would be an incredible job. Squirrels get to run around the backyard, hang out with their friends, climb trees, race across those wires. And for him, it made sense. It was really a fresh thing. And I did something that, when I was your age, I said I'd never do. But when you're a parent, you've got a little cute boy, irresistible, funny answer. You make him do it over and over again. So when somebody come over, I'd be like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? A squirrel. And you go in the backyard and collect some more acorns. And I did it over and over again. And one time we had a big family gathering. People were from out of state. And I realized that we had to do this. I had to get everybody over. Come here. And this is going to be good. Watch this. Come here, Nathaniel. Think what you want to be when you grow up. I started thinking again. Finally came out with an answer. Everyone's gathered around watching. Daddy, when I growed up, I want to be myself. Yeah, it was no longer fun, but it was kind of profound. He came up with an answer which I think is really the root of what we want to become. We want to become ourselves. And the key to leadership is actually using all the gifts and talents that you have and applying to the situation that you're in. You don't have to copy other people. You can learn from other people. But you don't have to become a general in an army if that's not your style. You don't have to become like other leaders, but you can learn from them. You can learn from their styles. But to be the most effective leader you can be, you've got to use your skills, your talents, your perspective. And you've got to strengthen that and let other people know that you're open about being yourself. You can help other people. Now, I'm going to tell you how some of that works in a moment. Sometimes people think that you're going to be given tasks that seem impossible. And I'm going to just try this here. They say it's impossible to tie a knot in a rope if you don't let go of the ends. You twist it, do everything you want, and it's impossible. If you study mathematics, it's kind of true. And topographically, you've got to let go of one of the ends in order to tie a knot. But some of the tasks you're going to have are going to seem impossible. They're going to seem that you can't do it. But what I say is that you can start to do the impossible. Pass this around. Everyone else can try that out if you want. But without letting go of the ends, you can try to tie a knot. By the end of the day, I'm going to teach everyone here how to do that impossible task. We'll let that go around a bit. I think the greatest tool for leadership is one that's not discussed very often. The greatest tool in leadership that you have is something that everybody carries with them and is based on one of the greatest places. There's lots of great countries. Maybe some of you have traveled to some. Which nation is the greatest nation in the world? Any opinions?
America.
All right. Thanks, Jack. You're the only one who volunteers anyway. That's a pretty great place. But the place I'm talking about is the imagination. The imagination. Think about it. Again, when you were a child, I saw my son do this. Went in the backyard, and he picked up a stick. I said, Nathaniel, what are you doing with that stick? He was like, Daddy, this isn't a stick. This is a sword. And then 5 minutes later, it was an oar. He was paddling down a river. And he had an imagination for what a stick could be. Uh-oh. Interesting. A stick can be anything in your imagination. And at some point, we get to an age where if you bring up a stick and you say it's a sword, or you say it's an oar, or you say it's a laser gun, or you say it's anything like that, somebody's going to say, hey, why don't you act your age? Now, when adults say that, act your age, they mean well. They're trying to teach you something about growing up and being responsible. But I think it's dangerous in some ways because it can kill your imagination. You've never done it that way before. Why would you suggest that? Well, you've got a new creative way of doing something. Don't let people step on your imagination. You've got to act your imagination. You can't let your imagination die because of social convention. And as a leader, the great leaders have imaginations that are huge. One leader I met in my path was Mother Teresa. I was traveling in India. I was doing some volunteer work there, and I met another volunteer who was going to volunteer with Mother Teresa. I didn't have that opportunity, but my friend did, and I was traveling to Calcutta, and because the postal system wasn't as reliable as ours, she asked me to deliver a note to Mother Teresa's home, and I wasn't sure I would be able to do it, but I was hoping I was a little more reliable than the Indian postal system. So I took a train up to Calcutta, had this note in my pocket, and on the train I was riding, there were some other sisters, and they wear a very distinctive sari. And I saw these other sisters, and I said, "Can you give this to Mother Teresa?" They said, "No, no, no. You can give it to her." And they gave me the address. So the next day, I showed up, and I knocked on the door, and there was a little sign outside the door, just one simple sign next to the address. It said, "Mother is in," or "Mother is out." And the peg was in. So I was excited. Maybe I could meet Mother Teresa. Knocked on the door. A nun opened up the door. She welcomed me, and I said, "I have a note from Mother Teresa." She said, "Oh, do you want to give it to her?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Just a minute." She brought me into the small little courtyard, and while I was there, I could see all the sisters there were washing their own clothes. They were taking care of their property, and they were preparing for their day, early morning. I was waiting in this little area, and it turned out there were a few other, I'd say, European visitors there who wanted to meet Mother Teresa. So I had this note from my friend Stella I wanted to give to her, and we were sitting there kind of waiting, chit-chatting the best we could. They knew more English than I knew French or German, but Mother Teresa came out. She came out, and she spoke to each of us, and she met. She spoke briefly, but she said, "I've got to go out, so I don't have a lot of time to spend with you. I wish I could. I've got to go out." Now, I did hand her the note, and I said, "Can I get a photograph?" And she said, "Yes," and then she scurried away. And I was like, that was an odd reaction. And then I didn't think she was going to fix her hair or do anything like that. She wasn't. She ran in her office, which was around the corner, and she came out and she handed me a photograph. Now, it made sense. Because in India, not a lot of people carry a camera. And lots of people like to have a photograph. So she had this small mimeograph photo of her, and she gave to people, and she treated everyone the same. So she gave this photo to me. And I did sneak a couple snapshots of her while I was there. But she gave me these photos. She prayed with us. She blessed us, and she was out. And she had an appointment. I thought she was busy in the city, but it turned out her appointment was she had to fly to Rome and then to London. Now, I really didn't care much about our itinerary, except I had two other friends that were with me who wanted, one of them desperately wanted to meet Mother Teresa, and I just thought it would be impossible, but I had already done it. And he was coming up the next week, and I knew this trip was going to take her away. He wouldn't be able to meet her, so I was very disappointed for my friend. But when he came up, he insisted, let's go, I just want to see where she lived. I want to know what happens. And this time, we knocked on the door, and Peg said she was in. I said, that's impossible. She's in Rome or London. And of course, she was going to Rome to meet the Pope, and she was going to London to raise funds. And she, we went in again, we went to the courtyard, but there weren't any other guests there. Any other guests were there. My two friends were with me, and they said, oh, Mother Teresa is praying. Do you want to pray with her? We got invited in to pray with Mother Teresa, and then she spent quite a bit of time, maybe 20, 30 minutes with us, and to meet with us. And it turned out her trip had been canceled, so we got to spend this extra special time with us. And you could see the genius of her leadership. She treated everyone the same, and that probably included the Pope and other wealthy people she was raising money from. She would just ask everyone to give all they could for the poor. Now, it turned out we were working and volunteering, and we got to share some of our experiences with her, and she got to share some of her experiences with us. But she wasn't a big general. In fact, that night, we were all reflecting on our time with her. We went back to our very modest hotel, and we were sitting back saying, Mother Teresa, I can't believe it. We're going to write letters home. What do you remember? I wanted to get all the information from my friends as they told about their experience. And we were remembering, trying to remember every word she told us. And then there was a pause in our conversation. We almost all said at the same time, she had big feet. She was a small woman. Maybe that's too tall for her. She was a very small woman, but proportionally her hands and her feet seemed very big. In an Indian home, you don't wear shoes. So we had taken off her shoes, and she wasn't wearing shoes as well. And her feet, they were probably normal size, but since she was such a small woman, her feet and her hands seemed so huge. And we realized that she was a human being like us. But her style of leadership was not bossy. It was not dominant. It wasn't a general. She didn't raise her voice. She was very quiet. Yet, she was able to create a worldwide mission with her style of leadership by just being herself and working as hard as she could to be herself. I need 4 helpers here for a little experiment. I got 1, 2, one at each table. One table, one here, go from this table here, and any volunteer from any other table. Actually, I'm going to go with these 3. Maybe you can volunteer because in this game, because I bring 5 envelopes, I only brought 4 today. I've got 4 envelopes. What's your name? Grace. Grace, nice to meet you. And you are? Caroline. Matt. I'm going to let the ladies go first. I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And one of these envelopes is a cash prize, $20. And some of you may want to volunteer and get up here and get this experience. In 3 of the envelopes, it's not so much. Not very valuable. But which one do you want to choose? Take it. All right, what number you get? 4. All right, race to a 4. What's your name? Caroline. Caroline, what's your pick? 1, 2, 3. You got 1 and 3. Out of 1. Now, if you wish, any of you can trade for this one. Last time we did it, the prize was in number 3. Okay, we'll trade Why did you trade? All right. Does anybody want to trade with this one? 2 weeks ago when I did it, the money was number 1. Don't let that influence you at all. All right? Who wants to start? Why don't you start? Open that up. Good.
$1.
You got $1. Not bad. That's yours to keep.
Thank you.
Thanks for playing.
Just that.
You can sit down. Don't spend it in one place. That'll lose my gift to you. All right. Does anybody want to trade with me? No? You pick first, so let Carol. You got $1? All right. It's a free $1. Don't be too bummed out. All right. Last chance. You want to trade? Or you can trade with one of those. You going to stay with it? All right. We'll open these up together. Oh, you got my business card. I've got the $20. Not bad, not bad. All right, well, thanks for trying that out. Sometimes living takes risks. That's for you. All right. Let's try a game where everyone can be involved. This game is based on a game you probably played when you were a child. It's a game you know as Simon Says. Now this game I've changed to make it more challenging. In this game, well, first of all, I changed the name. My last name is Kennedy, so I'm going to, when Kennedy says do something, starting right now, you're going to do it. When Kennedy doesn't say it, don't do it. The second thing I changed is I'm going to try to get everyone here to miss 3 or more times. Now, if you happen to miss 3 or more times, you're not disqualified. Continue to play. The world record for misses in this game is 17. I don't think that'll happen to anybody here, but if it does, let me know. I'll start a new world record. In order to get started, everyone stand up, please. All right. Kennedy says, you're standing, that's a miss. Kennedy says, stand up. All right. Everyone raise your right hand. Very good. Kennedy says raise your right hand. Raise your other hand. Kennedy says raise your other hand. Kennedy says do this once. Kennedy says do this twice real fast. Even faster 3 times. This counts too. If you can't see me clearly, just scoot over a little to your right or the left. All right, those shooters are out. Kennedy says you can adjust yourself so you can see me. Let's drop one of our hands. Kennedy says drop one of your hands. Kennedy says with this hand in the air, form a circle with your thumb and forefinger. Kennedy says make this circle very tight. And give these other fingers a little wiggling room. Wigglers are out, 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 out. Kennedy says continue to make the circle very firm. Kennedy says move this circle slowly towards your face. Kennedy says put this circle firmly on your chin. For some of you need an anatomy lesson, this is your chin. I saw this live. There's usually somebody who says, hey, what's so funny? Okay. All right, I think you got it now. All right, hands down. Oh. Kennedy says hands down. Kennedy says raise your hands in the air. Kennedy says do this once. twice. Kennedy says, do it 3 times. Now clap your hands. Oh, close. Kennedy says, clap your hands. All right, hands down. Kennedy says, reposition your hands in front of you like this. Kennedy says, rotate your hands so your thumbs are pointing to the ground. Kennedy says, enjoy that stretch a little. Kennedy says, move one of your hands over so your palms are facing. Kennedy says, interlock your fingers. Kennedy says, try to get your dominant pinky on top. Kennedy says, wiggle your thumb. It's pointing to the ground. Kennedy says, stop wiggling. Kennedy says, rotate your wrists. Kennedy says, do this next action slowly. Kennedy says, rotate your wrists so your thumb is now pointing to the ceiling. Kennedy says, don't hurt yourselves. Ouch. I don't know. All right, hands apart. Kennedy says, hands apart. All right, hands down. Kennedy says, hands down. All right, very, very good. All right, for everyone who's sitting, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out. Kennedy says, have a seat. Now, that was actually a leadership lesson. I'll tell you the leadership lesson hidden inside that game in a minute. But, first of all, before I go on, if I did not get you to miss 3 or more times, raise your hand. All right. Look around these people with their hands in the air because you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out. Kennedy says, game over. Otherwise, everybody's like this. Here's a lesson hidden inside that game. You're not very good followers. But that's pretty good because we got a room full of leaders here. And here's the leadership lesson hidden inside that game. When I asked you to put the circle firmly on your chin, most of you did this. At least to start with. Now, there's only one reason why you did it. It's not because it was a difficult instruction. In fact, if I came to your house in the middle of the night, woke you up, shine a flashlight in your face, and said, where's your chin? You'd be like, here. Who are you? Are you here? But in a dead sleep, you can identify your chin, waking up from a dead sleep. But there's one reason why most of you did this, because I did. In this game, I was the leader. You did what I did, not what I said. This is the essence of leadership. When you're a leader, people are going to do what you do much more than anything you ever said. You can say the right things, you can write the best speeches, you can give the best memos and instructions, but your actions are going to be much more powerful than anything you write or say to your group, or your team. Think about it. You know this is true already. You've got little brothers and sisters. They start copying you and emulating you. You're like, stop it. But it's automatic. Your actions are very powerful. If you play sports, even just like maybe pick up basketball. If you play pick up basketball with your friends and say, you've got to hustle, you've got to work hard. And then you don't care, you're not really working hard, you're not doing anything. They're not going to listen to you. But if you start hustling without saying anything, and you get results, your teammates are going to see it. It's going to get contagious. And your actions are so powerful that it's going to make things happen. In your clubs, you tell people, you got to be here on time. You got to work hard. And they see you don't care about punctuality. You're not really working hard. It's not going to be very powerful words. Your actions are going to speak much louder than anything that you may think or do in your particular group. The other thing a good leader does is that, and it's hard to do, is that you try not to judge people. Just as I asked you to think about that person deep inside you, that doesn't come out, everybody's got one. And sometimes we judge other people. Now, at a school like this, it's pretty big. It's not huge. You probably know a lot of people. You've grown up with a lot, most of them. And you've got some opinions about these people, but you may not know lots of cool things about people that you've even been with, ever since a child. On the other hand, you do know these people very, very well. But there are things about people, and their new students are always coming in. And there's people who are changing. You grow. You're in a great time period where you're changing and growing. And sometimes we judge. We put people in ruts. We put people in boxes. That guy's a class clown. She's kind of spaced. He's not very bright. We do these things. Now, you've got to watch out for that, because sometimes as a leader, it can be contagious. People will get these attitudes from you. Your job as a leader is to pull out from people maybe things these other students didn't know they had, some strengths that they don't have. Work on some of their hidden talents. Put these other students in positions where they can shine and do their best at the right time, in the right moment. There are lots of examples of this throughout history. Maybe it's happened to you. Maybe one of you have been in a position where somebody has just thought, man, she's kind of a smart kid, but I don't think we can rely on her to do X, Y, and Z, whatever tasks you might have. And sometimes we're prejudging students, and we're not letting other students take risks and take chances so that they could possibly shine. I'm sorry. When I ran out of glue, I put lotion in it. And some of you are probably asking, right? There's a few reasons. The first reason is this, though, I've got to admit. I enjoy, kind of say it's one of my hobbies, I enjoy freaking out a room full of students. And I like the slow, polite freak out that was going on in this room a few moments ago. I noticed, some of you saw the very first time I put it in my hands, you're like, what's that? What's he doing that for? Do some kind of magician thing. And then I did it again and again. More and more people were poking each other and looking up. And then I put it on my face. And even though most of you thought I was doing something potentially harmful and dangerous, I noticed you sat there quietly and said absolutely nothing to me. It's a tough start to our friendship, but I'll try to get over that. But the main reason I do this is because this bottle here is in our brain. We don't really have to even read words on here to know what this is. If you grew up in this country, you know what this is. I met a student who grew up in another country, and they just thought I was putting lotion on my face. They thought it was odd. I was taking care of my personal needs while talking to a group of people. But they didn't think it was harmful or dangerous. In their country, they didn't have this product, so this just seemed like a bottle of lotion to them. And that's exactly how I was using it. But we know this is glue. It's orange top, the shape. I mean, this bottle could be on one of the goalposts on the other end of the football field. You'd be like, why is there a bottle of glue on the end of on the goalpost, the other end of the football field? We know this product, and it's in our brains. And it's the same way that some of your peers can be in your brains. You may have pigeonholed them in a certain way, but you don't know the hidden things inside them that are different and unique and surprising. Every one of you has got surprises. I'm sure that many people don't know about. Even people who have grown up with you all your life. And some of these surprises are new things you're learning and discovering about yourself. And as a leader, you've got to put people in new and challenging positions so that they can do well. You may want to get the quiet student to do some public speaking. It's amazing. Watch out for the quiet ones. You've got quiet ones in your group or your team. Sometimes they're the most amazing people in the world. But they're always sitting in the back. They're absorbing everything like a sponge. No one's asked them to get up front. And sometimes they'll do an incredible job. Now, it may not always work. You can take some risks. But do look out for the quiet ones in your group, in your team. People, when you get together, you brainstorm ideas, what to do. It might be from raising money to putting on a new event. Try to source everyone in the room. Try to get even the quiet ones to get their opinions. As a leader, you'll look stronger when you get these ideas out quietly, and you'll notice surprising things inside of the students. I'm going to try a game and activity now. What you need to do is, it's not Simon Says anymore, stand up, find a partner, and face your partner. Partners. Anybody who doesn't have a partner? Because we have not number of students. All right, good. Face your partner, and if you do me a favor, orient yourself so that you're this way. I think everyone's got that. I'm going to demonstrate up here what you're going to do, but then I'd like you to do your best with your partner. First thing you've got to do. This game is called the observation game. Observation skills are key and important for leaders, but let's try this out. The first thing I want you to do is observe your partner. Give you a couple more seconds to get those final observations done.
Oh, nice.
All right, time's up. Turn your back to your partner. Now I'd like each of you to change 3 things about your physical appearance. Change 3 things about your physical appearance. All right, everyone done?
No.
Change 3 things about your physical appearance.
Some people are taking off their shirts.
All right. Now turn around and face your partner. Take turns. 3 things about change.
Yeah.
change 5 additional things about your appearance. 5 additional Does everybody have them? A few more seconds. Make your final changes. All right, turn around, check out your part.
You put your hair back, back to the other side. You messed it up. And then you put your shirt on. Don't be sign me up.
Everybody get off?
What was the first one?
All right, back to back. All right, I'd like you to change 10 additional things. Just kidding, just kidding. Have a seat. Everybody get dressed again. All right, I saw lots of interesting things out there. Socks on hands, clothes over the head, lots of new fashion trends. But here's some of the things about the observation game that I saw. First of all, when I asked you to make 3 changes, everyone just played along. When I asked you to make 5 changes, I heard a medium level of, oh man, I can't think of it. 5 more, I can't believe it. But it seemed like everybody got to 5 more. When I asked for 10, I think everyone had a, oh no. They had groans. Everyone had a groan. But I bet you could have done it. I bet you could have come up with 10 additional things. Now let me ask you about your strategy for change. How many people altered something they were wearing? As an example of change. I think everyone. First change I made was flip my tie back. Now, it's a simple change, and most of the time, when people tell you to change, we change something that we already have. It's part of us. Same with your clubs, your teams, your organizations. When you've got to make a change, you kind of rearrange the furniture. Instead of doing it, you're going to do things a little different. Now, there are other strategies for change. How many people, as a change, added something that was maybe on the table or something in their purse or something from their pockets, added something? Anybody add something that was outside their environment? Just a few people, 3, 4, very few. But this is a great way of change, but it doesn't come to our mind right off. Change something that you don't already have. Go outside your group. Go outside your resources. Think of something that will change the way you do something. I mean, the football team can learn something from the Honor Society. The Honor Society can learn something from other clubs and organizations. Each club can learn. And the talents you bring to one organization may help another organization. The teamwork and precision that a football team needs to have is something a lot of clubs don't have. How many meetings have you gone to where it seems like everybody's talking and nothing gets done? If a football team did that, it's going to hurt their performance. They've got to get together and coordinate 11 people to make something happen. Now, I happen to love football. And I understand that your football game got washed out last night. And I can relate to that. In the area where I live, I'm a football official. And so I missed my game last night too, and I've got a game tonight. As a football official, we're a team too. There are 2 teams out there, and there's a team of officials who try to coordinate and work together. In some way, the officials, we have different responsibilities. Kind of like a baseball team, the shortstop has different responsibilities than the catcher. The same as the football team. The wide receiver has different responsibilities than a linebacker. But, and we've got to coordinate our positions. But there's lots of opportunities for leadership. I did in Chester County, Pennsylvania, I did an all-star game in June. Football in June is a great thing in my mind. And there were all-stars, and they divided them from the north part of the county, the southern part of the county, and it was a big production, and they raised money for a worthy cause for students and families with Down syndrome. It was a great night. But the game was real. Talented players playing hard, and it was kind of weird though. The coaches were like an all-star coaching staff too. They were all the coaches from the north and all the south, and they got together and they divided up their responsibilities as well. One was the head coach, and the others were in charge of different responsibilities. And one might be in charge of special teams, another might be in charge of defense, another might be in charge of wide receiver. They all have their responsibilities. So at one point in the game, there was a punt. And part of our responsibility as officials is to count the players. If you got 12, it's a penalty. If you've got 10, it's not a penalty, but usually we advise a team, count your team. We usually don't tell them you have 10. We just say count your team, and most coaches know that means somebody's missing. And they ran a punt, and they tried to return. They only had 10 players on the return team. They didn't go very far. So next time, same situation, there's another punt, they ran out 10. They told me, count your team, count your team. And they ran the punt, not out there. Finally, we decided not to be so subtle. It was for charity, it wasn't a competition, didn't matter that much. So I went over to coach and said, you got 10 players on the return team, coach. And his response surprised me. It wasn't the normal fall season response. His response was, I don't care. That's not my job. But I talked to the defensive coach, not the special teams coach. Well, it turned out that another player who wasn't getting a lot of minutes heard this conversation. Did he run to the special teams coach? No. He ran on the field. He was number 11. It turned out that player threw a block that got the receiver to score a touchdown. And he took it upon himself to be a leader in that moment. Sometimes leaders are not going to step up and do their job. And sometimes you've got to be a leader even though you don't have a title. You don't have responsibilities. You don't have that position of authority. Now, you don't want to step on anybody else's position of authority, but You want to try to go through them, but sometimes situations just take people who stand up, do their best, and do the best thing. And the observation game, the last part of the observation game was, how many people changed something by exchanging something with someone who was standing next to them or behind them? I saw some t-shirts being exchanged over here. And what did you exchange? Shoes. Exchange shoes. Getting resources from other people around you is an overlooked way to make changes. And there's so many resources around you, it's kind of silly in this game, but you can find resources around you, look for the quiet people, and try to observe the great things that happen. We're going to take a short break now, say about 7 minutes, and then we're going to do some more fun things when you come back. Thanks for your time and attention, I appreciate it, and get up and stretch and get a snack. All right, I want to review a couple things. I've been doing some assessments of the group here, and leaders need to assess their skills, assess the skills within their group, and you can get great results from doing that. One thing I pointed out is one of the greatest tools of a leader is creativity. Now, being in a school setting like this and seeing everybody the age I was when this happened reminds me of kind of the first time I did any public speaking. When I was your age, I got into a class called creative writing. Now, it doesn't sound like where you learn how to speak, but it turns out I got into this class because my best friend Mark Potter was in that class. And that class was just before lunch. And I really didn't love language or writing, but I wanted to be with my friend. And we could go from that class to lunch, and we actually had a free period after that. So we had a solid block every day where I could spend with my best friend. And I was able to finagle my schedule to get into that class. And it worked out pretty well. I could do exactly that. In fact, at the beginning of each class in creative writing, we had journal time. It was the first time I usually saw Mark each day. And journal time was kind of free time you get to work and do exercises in your journal. Well, often Mark and I would go to the back of the room, we work together. We just catch up on events of the day, what happened in sports, what was going on in our lives, what young ladies were talking to us or not talking to us. And we got that time to spend with each other. And usually after journal time, we put them away. Mrs. Wagner would move on to a different assignment. But this particular day was very different. Mrs. Wagner asked for volunteers to read from their journal assignment. Now, I did what a good skill I had in high school is I kind of slipped down in my seat, tried to hide behind the people in front of me, avoid eye contact with the teacher. It turned out everybody in my row was kind of doing that as well. And Mrs. Wagner ended up selecting me to volunteer to read my selection. But I had a snap decision to make, and I made it. I grabbed my journal, walked confidently in the front of the room. I glanced at the board to see what the assignment was. It was to write a classically formed paragraph. And I opened up my journal, turned some pages as if I was looking for something. And then I proceeded to read a great paragraph. It had a strong opening sentence, creative, supporting sentences. Closing sentence that was poetic without being corny. And I read it without saying I closed my journal. I wanted to jump up and down. I was so excited. I just calmly took my journal, walked back to my seat, sat down. It was about that time. Another hand went up in the back of the room. It was my best friend, Mark Potter. Mrs. Wagner, that was so good. Could you have Frank read that again? I tried. I got a 0 for the day. And I learned an important lesson. I could do public speaking. I also learned I could create a beautiful paragraph. I had to take that step to actually write down what my thoughts were, but I had the ability to do some great creative writing. I learned I could speak extemporaneously in front of a group of people off the top of my head. I learned a lot of things. I didn't get rewarded for it in my grades, so I got punished. But I learned that I had this creative ability. And again, creativity is really the underused muscle in leadership. Coming up with new ways of doing things, finding new roles for people, finding new ways to involve the larger community. It's going to take some creativity. And that's one of the underutilized things. So we've got creativity. The next step is organization. It takes some organization, it takes some skills, and you don't have to do it all. You can organize by delegation. Find the resources in your group and get people to do what it takes to make things happen. Now, I'm going to try a game here, and we're going to go out to the, what do we call that space out there? Lobby. The lobby, all right. Okay. We're going to go out to the lobby and we're going to play the game. Everyone come out and form a circle. Go. We did a good job. This is about the largest group I've done this with before, but I think you guys have the capacity to tackle this game and do a good job. The rules of the game are pretty simple. I've got a ball here. I'm going to toss it to someone. I'm going to say that person's name before I toss it to them, and then they're going to toss it to someone else. Everybody touches the ball once. Remember who you tossed it to and who you got it from. The last person returns the ball to me. All right? I don't know many names here, so what's the gentleman's name in the gray shirt? Tom. Tom? What's your name? Nick. Nick. I'm going to use Tom. Oh, by the way, has someone got a watch? You can time how long this takes? Actually, I'll time this. or their phone, whatever you need. Whatever you need.
Stopwatch.
All right, you can do it? Okay, good. All right, Tom.
Jack. Justin. Caroline.
Katie. Oh, sorry.
That was a long throw.
Amy.
Cassera.
You got a lot of battery on that phone, right?
Mallory. Melissa. I saw it. Nick.
Emily.
Thank you. Reese. Rachel.
Izzy?
Lawrence. Grace.
Make this go. Just help everyone. If you haven't gone yet, just put your hand up so that folks can see who's left.
Veronica.
Delone. Rachel.
Franz.
Megan.
The other Josh. Lizzie.
Sarah. Sorry. Sarah. Anna.
Emma.
You can set that one.
Emily.
That's right. Sam.
Raise your hand if you haven't gone yet. Am I the only one left?
Yep. Bridget.
Am I the only one left?
Yep.
All right. How long, Bridget?
3 minutes, 27.5 minutes.
It's not the record. You think we can do better?
Yes. We can do better.
What do we need to do better?
Catch.
Any other suggestions?
You weren't supposed to memorize the order in which it was thrown?
Yes.
Oh.
Who did you throw it to? Just remember who you threw
That's
it
the
to.
only thing.
Oh, so I wasn't supposed to memorize it from start to finish?
No.
No, not the whole
You did.
You found a hidden talent we didn't know she had.
Oh my God.
I should have just now. That was impressive enough. Well done, well done. All right. Think we can do better?
Yes.
When you have a task in your organizations, you've got a process. You've got to do better. You might do it one time, you got to get it done better. You got to be more efficient, you got to be more organized. Anything besides catch that we can do better? No. All right. Let's try it again. Timer ready? Tom. Same. Exact same.
Joseph.
Same way we started.
Caroline.
Katie.
She blocked it.
Sarah. I
No.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, good now.
What went wrong? What went wrong?
One person stands
Soft throw now.
It's in the noggin last time.
One person. Everyone stands right there. Everyone stands the first person.
Spin. Yeah.
Because the hand number's too many.
Communication.
So everyone, somebody just straight to circle. Look at the hand. Then run and go. Starting that order. Yeah, we hit the standing order before it. Someone needs to stand up and just get their hand in. Just drop it right down. The one more person answer.
We missed a break.
Wait.
Yeah, we did miss like this whole section. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought they got the ball too soon.
Yeah.
Let's consult this lady.
Can we come back yet?
You messed it up.
Sorry.
Oh, we got it. Yeah. Someone there
Who else did
is.
it?
Raise your hand.
There we go.
We got it. 231. It was better. It wasn't quite the same order. Everyone touched it? All right. Let's try to stick to original order, but is there anything we can do to improve this process?
Yeah.
Get closer.
Yeah.
First of all, let's hear these ideas one at a time. First idea I heard was you. Keep communicating.
Stand beside the person you threw it to.
Stand beside the person you threw it to. Any other suggestions?
I like this
Get
one.
closer.
Yeah.
Like,
Moving closer?
Yeah.
That way we don't have to like.
Moving closer to use Josh's idea.
Sometimes we have a process. Sometimes we have a process where we need to we need to do the same thing over and over again. We got to get more efficient, better at it. So let's see if we get, what, 2:30, about 2:30? Let's see if we can, I think we can do it under 2 minutes, you think? Yeah. All right. Let's try again. Tom. Tom.
What? Oh my gosh.
Tom.
Is that one of Brian?
I don't know where you got it.
That's great.
Oh, we got this. Yeah, we got this now.
Wait, how was the right one?
What is this?
Get better at throwing things.
Your mind. There's nothing to fall in this way.
Sarah. Bridget. Bridget back.
Where's Bridget?
You ready, timer? Got it.
Okay, that would be 150.
150? We haven't approved it. Is there anything we can do to improve this process even more?
Yeah, that's
What was Josh's idea?
Stand in order.
Let me ask you a question. You made that suggestion last time. Why didn't we do it?
I tried.
Because you didn't listen.
Because I didn't listen. Sometimes the leader needs to listen. Sometimes when there's an emerging leader, you need a strong follower. The first follower is the person who makes a move. He had a great idea. And maybe some of you also thought it too, but you didn't articulate it. But he articulated it. But if you don't jump on great ideas of other people, it may never happen. So let's try his idea.
We're going this way, guys. Yeah, go around that way.
Someone threw it to me. Yeah, move the line.
Yeah, we're going this way.
I memorized this. We got it.
Can you scoot down? Thank you.
How was it?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Ready?
Just.
Master, go!
Bigger team. Good, Mike.
Master!
Yep.
Come on, go, go, go.
Caroline, timer!
32.
32. Pretty impressive. We dropped this by a lot. The record for a group this size, though, is under 20 seconds.
What?
We can do it.
Take two.
You got a suggestion?
Make it fast. We can just cup our hands and dump it instead of like everyone trying to grab it and it just.
All right, let's try that.
Your hand.
I'm gonna make one small change just for since you're right at the end. Just slide over there. Just pick a new spot and you can play, and then you can get to your timer. All right. So we don't miss any vital seconds by going to the pocket. All right. Other than that, we're going to touch them in the same order we originally started, and I'm almost ready. Tom.
Not working!
That brain's an issue.
Okay. Here we go.
Good.
33.
Another suggestion.
We should use one ball.
Sometimes you got to do the same thing. The reason why I have 4 is sometimes you got to do the same thing over and over again. What you do in the fall, you may have to repeat it in the spring. So you got to have these things going all the time. Sometimes, we got to multitask.
Justin, do
So you got to start with me, you got to end with me, you go in the same way. You got suggestions? Did you hear that?
No.
Everything is one.
Do 2 balls once. What that way? No, 1 for each ball.
If we do all at once, there's going to go everywhere.
All at once. Timer ready? Go.
That's a bad idea.
What is this nonsense?
Go.
Got it.
44.
You're doing well.
Suggestion?
How about everyone hold their hand out and then somebody just runs around the circle and cut them all in the same order?
You got to start with me. You got to touch in the same order. We'll try that.
I don't understand.
Like if everyone went like this and somebody ran the items around the circle, you'd still touch them in the same order.
Smart.
Take them all in. Everybody's hand.
No one trip.
No, this one.
Ready?
Go.
Go.
Come on, we gotta do another 20 seconds.
Come on!
And time.
9 seconds.
Excellent job. I think we got a new world record. We'll go in the room there, all right? That's an example of organization. Sometimes you got to find new ways of doing things, restructuring a group, taking ideas that aren't heard or aren't executed on, and letting those people, even if it doesn't work, sometimes trying an idea out that doesn't work, you get that person more involved when you try the next idea and you try something. Excellent job brainstorming, coming up with a way of coming up with a good solution to get that under 10 seconds. You've got to be organized. Did anyone come up with a solution? I heard there's some people. No? They were just pretending they had a solution? Yeah, you can do it?
The guy nodded it. I don't know how.
Did you let go at the end? No? All right, anyone else? Who wants to try? I'll show someone a way. You got a way?
I'll show that.
Come up here, come up here.
So you're happy to let go.
What? I'll show you a way where you don't have to let go. And it involves doing this. Cross your arms. Put one of your arms out. There you go. Now lean down. And pick up one end with one hand. And the other, scoot over. Pick up the other end with your other hand. No. Keep drop that.
Like this.
I'm not so sure. Crush on. There you go. Put one arm. There you go. Now grab that. Grab one end with that hand. Grab the other end with that hand. Now uncross your arms. You guys can work on that when we're done. That's one solution I know most of you can do. Speaking of crossing your arms, well, before you cross your arms, try this. Put your hands together like this. Notice which thumb's on top. So your right thumb or left thumb? Some left, some right. Why do you think some of us have our right thumb on top and others have our left thumb on top? Dominant hand, so if you're right-handed, your right thumb's on top? If you're right-handed, your left thumb's on top? That's the way it is for me, but it's not the way for everyone. Turns out it doesn't have anything to do with your dominant hand. But there is a reason why one thumb or the other generally is on top. Occasionally, somebody will have thumbs side by side when they do it naturally. But most of the people have one thumb on top of the other. Does anybody know the reason why one thumb goes on top? Some people think it has to do with if you're left-brained or left-brain. I don't know if you studied that theory, creative, analytical, but it doesn't have anything to do with that either. It turns out, when we're babies, one day we notice, look, hands. And at some point, after you start noticing these hands, they flutter around in front of your eyes, you go, look, they go together. And how you put them together that first time is the way it's most comfortable for you, and it just gets customary. Now try doing it and putting the other thumb on top. It doesn't feel right, but no one got injured or maimed in the execution of that thing. And we'll try another way. Just shake out your hands. Fold your arm. Everyone's got a different style of folding the arms. But notice which arm's on top. Now try it again. Shake it out and put the other arm on top. Alright, everyone go back the regular way. It's pretty funny though, people go the other way. I was like, traveling. Another guy back here, I thought he was like cheese. But we get used to doing things in a particular way. Now, it didn't hurt anybody to do it the other way. And sometimes when you're a leader, you're going to have to do things slightly different and don't feel quite as comfortable or customary to you. But it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to make anything go wrong. Just trying something a little different is something that will actually grow and you'll expand. You'll find other ways, and eventually, if you do it the other way enough times, that will become comfortable to you as well. I do need to ask for a favor from someone here. Is there somebody here who could loan me some money?
I got $1.
You got $1? I was looking for more than that. Maybe you got more than $1?
I've got $10.
You got $10? Good.
Do you want my $10?
Sure, unless somebody's got more. You got 20? That's fine.
I get that.
Of course, we'll make it totally fair. So you get back. Can you show me $20? That's over here. All right.
I got paid.
We're sorry. Next thing we're talking about, what's your name? Megan, do me a favor, Megan. Write your name in like 150-point font on the front or back of the building, just so you'll recognize it if that bill gets lost.
Really big, really big.
All right, shall everyone? And we'll get to that in a moment. But we'll just put this up here. And thanks. We'll get to that in a moment. But if anything happens, your name's on it. Oh, by the way, did you know that it's a federal crime to write on money? Oddly enough, the fine for doing it is $20.
In front of your government teacher, Megan.
We're going to talk about risk. Doing something new, doing something different is risky. Stepping up and being a leader is taking a risk. Now, there's lots of talk, and you've heard it, about risks that young people take. And it's usually about the negative things. And hopefully you're being smart about those kind of risks and avoiding those dangerous risks, those life-altering risks. But there are other life-altering risks that are very positive. Developing a leadership role, stepping up and helping a student who doesn't seem to get a lot of attention, being, when someone in this cafeteria, the tradition in my school when I was growing up was when someone dropped a dish or dropped their tray, there was thunderous applause for that person. And it might be hard to break that tradition, but does anybody get up and help that student? Pick up their tray, clean up the little mess they made? I was at a school once where a student's life was changed. They were a freshman, and a senior came over and helped them when their tray fell on the ground. And he said, that changed his life. That propelled him from getting out of this dark hole of cynicism. It was just a simple act of helping someone in an embarrassing moment where that moment of leadership is profound. And again, at that moment, you don't need to have a title to be a leader. And a lot of great acts of leadership were by people who didn't have titles and roles. We all know the story of Rosa Parks. She just did the right thing at the right time by not moving in the back of the bus. She changed the country. And we can do these powerful things by just doing the right thing at the right time. What was your name? Thanks to the ones who had money. I want to play a little game with you that involves risk. And in order to do well at this game, can you come back up here for a moment? One of the things I've always wanted to do is start a business. Now, got some envelopes here. Let's see this one. Taste bad. Got 3 envelopes here. These are sealed. This one is not. And what I want you to do is I want you to fold your money. Because in these envelopes, I folded not even a dollar bill, but just a random piece of paper about the size of it. Once more. That'll be about the right size. All right, great. It's going to go in here. Can you do me a favor? Can you put out your tongue? Doesn't that taste bad? That's not too bad? I thought this one tasted the worst when I tried it this morning. All right, I've got these other envelopes here. And you're keeping your eye on yours? You did? It's your money. You weren't keeping your eye? That's stupid, man. Make sure they all stick. It's kind of humid today, so they don't all stick. But, I want you to take one of these envelopes. Not a fortune. That one? Okay, hold on. We'll try a little game here. You know how to operate this? Do me a favor and pour a little lighter fluid. Whoa, let's move. All right, let's move this away. Here, now what I want you to do, Megan, is I want you to throw a match in here. All right, throw a match in here and we'll count it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you have to wait.
Bring it up.
Trick matches. You can do it. Be the match. Never give up. Yeah, she doesn't sleep. Yeah.
She's got skills we didn't know about.
Yeah.
What track? These two. Wait a minute. Before you do this, safety glasses, safety first.
At least they're silent.
May the forks be with you. Alright, we're gonna get our expert in there. You gotta go home and learn to play with matches later. Here we go. Want everyone to be safe.
You can get over now.
With those, from the top over.
There you go, use the box. What's the matter with today's youth? They don't know how to play with matches. Now we're taking a risk. This is all about risk. Megan's taking a risk. Drop it in there. Whoa. All right. Now I want you to go ahead, open up your envelope. Show everyone the power you had. Hold your $20 bill up. Nothing else in there? I guess I have to make this public service announcement. This is Megan's money on drugs. Any questions? That's too bad. Bad. All right, well, give her a hand. She helped out. Let me get my business card. This is my gift to you. Yeah, there you go. You can read it later. When we take risks, sometimes things don't work out. Now, if I just said that, it wouldn't sink in. But we really have to thank Megan. She helped us out. She gave us money. And you can feel some of the pain she's feeling right now as everything's going up in flames. Let's give Megan a hand. In order to make money, in order to capitalize, like if this is an investment in my restaurant, everything's going up in smoke. It's pretty bad, but risks do happen. Not everything you're going to try out in your club or your organization is going to work. There are things that will not work. I've got a gift for you. You help me out. It's not worth $20, but it's a little magic book I wrote, and you can have that. So you can feel our pain. Put things out. And there are other things that are risk. For instance, give me a tool here. Might get to that in a moment. And this is actually a family heirloom. My grandmother nutcracker. We'll leave that. But maybe in a moment. Actually, I feel bad for Megan because I've got two gifts up here, two other gifts here. One in those bags. One is marked X, one is marked Y. Can't give you both, but does one of those interest you? Which one? The Y? All right. Come up here and grab that. On my sleeve. Take the Y. Just show everybody what you got and you can take the next one. Just hold that. Not a big mystery. Come up here. There are two snacks in here. You saw one of them. But you could have had some snacks. You had Coca-Cola. And then I also have some chips. Right, chips? You didn't pick it. But, but I want you to look at the bottom of this and notice what's at the bottom. Tell me what's at the bottom. Tell everybody. What's at the bottom? The bottom, nothing at all. Some people think it would be a $20 bill, but she took a risk, she lost her money, she's completely gone. Now, I want to show everybody what's in this bag. Open up the bag. Let me take my watch off. Some people think I hide things in my sleeves, but what's in there? An orange. All right. Anything else? All right. This is pretty cool. This is weird. Let's look inside of it. Are you ready? Just take this. Get my fingers here. Something with it. humor and patience. Give her a hand again. This brings me to my last letter. Sometimes when you start out in the process, you've got to learn to navigate. I learned recently that if you take a flight, let's say from Baltimore to Los Angeles, when you get on the plane is aiming for that particular runway at LAX. But it turns out the nose of the plane is only aimed at that runway a very small percentage, less than 5% of the flight. It's aimed at that runway. The whole flight, the pilot and the co-pilot are correcting course. They're navigating. They're correcting course. And when you try new things, you're going to have to continually correct course. A club wouldn't need officers if there were never any problems, if things always went the right way. You're in place because you're going to be the one always correcting and trying to navigate different problems. When I was your age, I had to navigate through something that was big. A lot of the problems you'll have are just people are crabby, you don't feel well, there was a sponsor who wasn't cooperative, you raised less money than you expected to, it rained on the big day of your event. Those are things that can happen. When I was your age, a big thing happened, and it's part of life. When I was your age, I was taking a vacation in the summertime, and I was down in the New Jersey shore, and there was a knock on our apartment. We just rented this apartment. I didn't even know anybody beyond our family knew we were there. So when I opened the door, I expected to see my family. There was a police officer. I was a little concerned. About the same time, my dad was actually working. He wasn't there. He was still working. We were down 2 weeks. He only had 1 week of vacation, so he wasn't there that week. And a police officer asked to talk to my mom, and he told her some incredible news. My older brother, who was married and had kids of his own, had killed himself. And that was it. Vacation was over. It was a terrible day, a terrible week. It was hard on me, but my mom, man, she never recovered. It was her oldest son. And my brother Harry was dead. That's a tough thing to navigate. If you lose $20 from a stranger, that's something you can get over. But when you lose your brother, your family changes so completely. It's very difficult. I had to depend on my friends, my faith, my family to help me get past that moment. And in some ways, it's never passed me, but in other ways, I found ways to navigate around that difficult time. And I think it's important for me to talk to students, even though you're the best of the best students at this school. Teenage depression can strike anyone. My brother was the brightest guy I knew. He was so smart, but depression hit him, and he got to believe a lie. The lie was he was worthless and his life was worthless. Now, when you're in a position of leadership, you may identify other people in your group who are in this particular position, and you're going to have to step out on a limb. You may make that person feel uncomfortable if you go and talk to them, but you're going to change, maybe save a life. Maybe your actions aren't enough. You don't have to bring in other people. Bring in other adults you trust. There's a suicide hotline. But whatever it takes, step up and be a leader in that moment. You'll regret it for the rest of your life if you don't take an action. If you do act, that person may disown you, dislike you, but you'd much rather have to be in that situation than if you lose that friend. And suicide can strike. It's too often the cause of death of people your age, and it's avoidable. It's usually depression that strikes someone, and it can devastate everyone. If anybody wants to talk to me about that or email me that, I'm going to leave my card, and we can chat about it. But most likely, I'll try to find someone in your community here who you can talk to as well. But we'll get that process started if you like. I want to show you a couple more things. step on a couple more minutes, but I want to show you a couple more things that I've learned. Is there somebody here who can shuffle cards? You don't need to be an expert, but someone who can do it, because this is about the future. The difference right now is your future. Not only running the club organization you have here, but I'm going to go over this table over here. They're volunteer a lot. What's your name? Linnea. I've got an invisible deck of cards here. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Some people cannot see the invisible. You've got a great imagination, so I know you can do it. Imagination is your greatest leadership tool. I want you to shuffle those cards, mix them up. Our future's full of possibilities. We don't know how it's going to turn out. I want you to make sure, take them out of the box first.
Oh.
I want to make sure that there's no possible way I would know the order of those cards. Okay, now, shuffle them up as much as you want, but when you're done, I want you to look through all the cards. Don't do it right now, though. Wait till I turn my back and cover my eyes, because when I do, I want you to pull a card out. I want you to memorize it. Then I want you to put it back in, but not the regular way. Turn it backwards. Put it in the wrong way, and then square everything up and put it in the box. You're going to take the card out, memorize the suit and everything, and then put it back in the wrong way, and then put everything in the box. And the loud voice, tell me when you're done. Don't go too long. Sometimes somebody walks in and they wonder why the speech is being cut.
I'm done.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're in the box? Toss the box up here to me, please. Come here. This is cool. For the first time today, I want you to tell everyone the card you memorized. Ace of Diamonds, you do? Could have thought of any card. You thought of the, see the Ace of Diamonds, but there's one card, and only one card upside down. Take that out. Take a look at it. Don't show everyone. Go ahead, show everybody. It's the Ace of Spades. Give her a hand. Her imagination made this work. What? What did you say?
You said Ace of Diamonds.
I said, you said Ace of Diamonds.
Yeah.
All right. Ace of Diamonds. Okay, try something else. Thanks for correcting. Good. Put out your hand like this. Each of you've got possibilities you don't know about. Cover the back with the other hand. Let me sneak out the Ace of Diamonds, this card. Keep the rest of the cards there. This came from her imagination. It was imaginary at first, but you made it real. I want you to try the opposite. Take the deck, out there. I want you to make it imaginary. All right? Now don't throw it or do anything like I would do. Just concentrate all your efforts between your hands. Make it imaginary, all right? Is it gone? We got a dilemma here because she's new at this, but maybe she's good at it. Maybe it is gone, but her imagination is so powerful, she thinks it's really there. No? Is it gone? Concentrate. Concentrate. I know you're not used to concentrating at school. Do your best. Is it gone? No? Let's take a look. You're new at this. Don't worry. Take a look. What?
Okay.
That's practically invisible. Give her a hand. She does have a powerful imagination. Friends, our time together is over. I want to thank you for your time and attention. Your kind of stranger came here. I want to leave you with one thought. A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. Use what you have to light up your organizations, your clubs, your teams. Look for the quiet ones. Let them shine too. I want to thank you again for your time and attention, and I'll give everyone a business card before I go. And if you want to email me or visit me on Facebook, that'd be great. Take care.